The reason the 49ers, I find them right now, today, to be the absolute clear-cut favorite to win the Super Bowl is not just because they've got good players at every position and they're humming, but I look around at some of the other good teams in the NFL. The Eagles are 5-0, but their top receiver's screaming at their quarterback on the sideline. The Bills are only 3-2. They're really good. Their top receiver is literally got like 1 billion touchdowns in the last 2 weeks, and he's hucking his helmet off the ground, and Josh Allen is looking at him like, I'm so done with you. I'm so done with you. CeeDee Lamb is bleeping reporters in the locker room. Like Justin Jefferson's already talking about whether there's a trust level about who's his quarterback going to be next year. The Lions are super chill. They look like they've got their heads screwed on straight. I think the Chiefs largely do. The 49ers right now, this team is truly that. They are such a team. Brock Purdy talked about it yesterday. No egos on this team, even though I'm sure there are some.
But the team, it feels like the team comes first. George Kittle's a great example. Hasn't scored a touchdown all year. You haven't heard a word from him. He's out there blocking his tuchus off, loving it, and then yesterday he gets the 3. You haven't heard Debo say anything about his touchdowns, or Brandon Ayuk, Christian McCaffrey, the workhorse, is out there humbly doing what he can. Kyle Juszczyk yesterday got 4 catches, but normally doesn't really get to touch the ball very often. And all of this behind a guy, Kyle Shanahan, who's just going about his business one game at a time. The defense is a hard hat bunch that doesn't seem to, there's no finger pointing.
Yep.
There was no animosity toward Nick Bosa, who skipped out on the entirety of training camp. They are a completely unified group right now, and I know it's early, and adversity brings out the worst in all of us, and they haven't had that adversity. But you mentioned Philly. You're undefeated, and you've got some chirping going back and forth. This team is chirp-free.
This was the comment that Purdy made after the game that sort of got my attention on this particular conversation.
Yeah, I mean, like we said before, this team doesn't have, any ego. Everyone wants to win. I feel like everyone knows that they're good, and so it's going to be just a matter of time with their game. This game, George had, the touchdowns, he had opportunities, but still, Debo, B.A., Christian, everyone's able to contribute, JJ, and so, their time comes, and so they know that. But at the end of the day, we put winning first. That's what we want to do. There's no, selfish times where, guys are coming up to me saying, hey, man, I'm open, you got to throw it to me or anything like that. So I'm very lucky and fortunate for that, and we'll just keep it rolling.
There's 2 sentences to me that stand out. One of them is, everybody knows they're good. I love that. It's like, dude, we all know, and especially good, it's coming from him. Because while the nation is out here going, is he good? Is he really good? Is he a product of the system? Is he this, that? He's like, dude, I know I'm good. I don't need your validation. I know I'm good. Debo knows he's good. Brandon knows he's good. Kittle's obviously good. Trent Williams, are you kidding me? And we can keep going on and on. There's more and more names. We know we're good. And we know that matters most if we're acting as a collective as opposed to individuals. It's easier said than done at the professional level.
Absolutely. And I think you can take the cue from your quarterback, who is making a fraction of the money all those guys are making. And now Ayuk isn't yet making that massive money, but he's doing all right.
First round pick.
Right.
Yeah.
So he's making that first round money, but he's not making the money he will be making in a couple of years. But Trent makes a ton, and Kittle, and you got a quarterback who is sharing his house with 2 other teammates because the South Bay is expensive, and yet he's not complaining. He just goes out there, puts his head down, shares the ball, spreads it around, and if he's humble and the team is all humble around him, who's going to step out and be that me guy?
At Brock's current salary, in order to make what Brandon has made in his first 4 years, Brock would need to play the same number of years as what he wears on his chest.
13.
13 years.
He's making $800,000.
Right.
And
Brandon's contract is for 12 and a half.
Okay.
Through 4 years, and he's in year 4.
Wow. So he would need to play 13 Brock Purdy seasons making $800K.
Yeah, in order to match Brandon's number.
Yeah, and geez, for him, I thought you were going to go to if Brock Purdy wants to buy a house, he's going to have to probably play a couple of
way
years.
More than 13 years. In the Bay Area, 22 years, maybe be able to get like a duplex, something like that.
McCaffrey's got 8 touchdowns. Kittle's got the 3 we know. BA with 2, Debo with 2. And yet these guys aren't stepping out and saying, where's my share?
Right.
Where are my tutties? And, the fact that you're 5-0 makes it so that doesn't happen. But you got 5-0 chirping from Philadelphia, which to me,
no doubt,
that's a bad sign because football, above all, is a team game, and you're all out there literally putting your lives on the line.
Well, and the Niners do have some scenarios in play that would, if you had different human beings and a different culture, that could lead to that kind of stuff. Brandon's in a contract year. Every 100-yard game for Brandon is big dollars. And every time he only gets 38 yards receiving, that's a loss of dollars. He is playing to try to convince the 49ers that he's a top 10 receiver in this sport. That's all on the line. But no chirping. And Debo, on the other hand, yes, he's already gotten his money, but he's sitting there going, I thought I played terrible last year. I worked like crazy to get into a different shape, and I want to prove that contract. I want to stay on this team. And for 2 weeks in a row now, he's barely touched the ball. Nobody says a word. Like, that's not given. It's not given in an NFL locker room. So,
the Ayuk point is a great one because he's 37th in the league in catches. He has 21 catches. McCaffrey has 20. Debo has 20. Talk about sharing the ball.
Share the rock.
And, McCaffrey obviously has the most touches because he's got 99 carries, leading the NFL. But Brock's spreading it around, and they're winning. Everything should be good in the hood when you're winning. But as you were mentioning, other teams that have been successful this year, you're already seeing some grumbling.
Yeah, absolutely. And Ayuk, that's the label he wants. Ayuk right now wants it to look like he's a top 10 receiver in the game. And when we look at it from a talent perspective, I think a lot of us think he does come pretty close at least to fitting in that conversation. But the numbers may not bear that out because a lot of mouths to feed, great run game, fourth quarters where you're not even playing. He missed a game earlier this year, all of that stuff. You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ FM and HD1 San Francisco, always live on the free Odyssey app, Twitch and YouTube, powered by First NorCal Credit Union. Willard and Dibs, we're so glad you're with us, taking your phone calls on 49er football. What'd you think? Comcast Business text line there for you. Twitch and YouTube, as we mentioned, the chats are on and popping as always. LJ in San Francisco on with Willard and Dibs. Hi, LJ. What are you doing?
Hey, what's up, guys? I'm in traffic on my way back to the East Bay, heading out of SF. And, real quick, the wife and I stopped by. Quick Drop still works in San Leandro. Nice spot. You guys are going to enjoy it. Sure is same as the other location. But on the game, man, it's been baffling to me here, and I'm sure there's been some jokes about the boredom. But as a Bay Area sports fan, that was an incredible game. I mean, it was entertaining. I know we had a few misses here and there. But what about that defense? I mean, I think the word that folks should be saying is synergy and identifying that between the offense and defense. These guys are on the same page. And I think this book isn't going to get lost in the chapters. The best is yet to come, as well as, the greatest challenges. So it was exciting. And the defense is really what was exciting. And I enjoy watching them. I have faith in Purdy, and I'm an underdog rooter. But that was something.
LJ, I think we're with you. I for one, Dibs, I don't know if you agree with this. When you factor in the opponent and the situation, and then also just the look, I thought that was the defense's best game so far.
I would agree in terms of, what you were up against and how you went about doing it. And 3 and outs is what you've kind of become accustomed to seeing. And then the Fred Warner punch out was just a thing of beauty. And then watching Dre Greenlaw absolutely burst onto people. I thought maybe he got away with a flag they could have thrown when he body slammed. I think it was Pollard. Picked him up on the apron and discarded him pretty violently.
Can you imagine if he got hurt again?
Yeah. I mean,
that's just like Dre. Once a game, I'm like, Dre, could you calm down just a little bit?
I know you've said that in the past.
I love him. He's so underrated. He's fantastic. But he plays just right on that edge, which I know that's part of his game.
Oh, that's
why he's so good. But, man, he rides the line of a personal foul every single week.
Every single snap.
Yeah.
Because he is out to finish you. He's out to win the play, and he's out to – I don't think he's out to hurt people, but he plays with that violence. And he gets his hands on you, and he's putting you to the ground. And that was one where I thought, no flag? Okay. Mm-hmm. We're back to the huddle. But the defense, they played amazing. It's not only, creating turnovers and getting the picks, and Dak's going to give you a couple, we know that, but just the way they hit. That was a hard-hitting game, and they took Dallas's will.
Yeah, they were fantastic. I know if you look at their 5 games, talk about the best performances from the defense, maybe the Pittsburgh one stands out too, but I'm also looking at what is being presented to you by the opposite offense.
Right. Kenny
Pickett and the Steelers, Pickett, he's not terrible, but that team's going to struggle to get to 20 points every time they play, period. They won a game yesterday by scoring 17, with 9 of them coming in the last 5 minutes of the game. A little bit of a fire drill there in the end. Like, that's the Steelers. And by the way, just while we're on this was kind of funny last night because there was a moment where it looked like the Broncos were going to come back against the Jets. And Rudolph texts me. He goes, dude, is it Russell Wilson magic time again? Is Russell Wilson magic back? And then, no, Russell Wilson magic is not back. But I'm like, who has the magic? It's still Mike freaking Tomlin. The Steelers are in first place. They're 3-2. They've gone 3-1 since the Niners left town after the way they looked against the Niners.
Yeah.
And here he is with a winning record again. Even though you're looking at him, you're going, they don't do anything well. It does. I mean, TJ Watt.
Minus 31 point differential.
Unbelievable. Mike Tomlin, I don't know what it is, but he's going to have a winning record no matter what the scenario is.
They've scored 79 points in 5 games. For Miami, that's called an afternoon.
What a joke.
That's 16 a game, Mark.
Oh, my
5
gosh.
times 16 is 80. So they're averaging 15.8 a game.
In first place.
3-2. And they had no business winning that game yesterday.
None. Baltimore ran them up and down the field for 3.5 quarters. They just couldn't score.
I got Lamar as my fantasy QB, so I watch a lot of Ravens. And I was thinking about the Niners watching the Ravens drop ball after ball after ball. They had to have had 6 drops yesterday, including 2 that were absolute walk-in or standing there touchdowns. And I was thinking, like yesterday, last night's game, did the Niners have a drop? And I know the previous game they didn't because the guy went 20 for 21. So
I don't think so.
Do the Niners, and I'm not jinxing them because I'm not in the locker room, but how many drops do the Niners have this year?
I don't know.
It's probably on one hand.
I tell you what, I think you're right. And I look at last night, were there a couple of, and these were contested balls or over the middle, 2 defenders. Could they have held on to it? Sure. Would I call it a drop? Hell no. I mean, when you're getting absolutely trucked in between 2 defenders, right as the ball's getting there, Brock gives you a chance to catch it, but it's not a given by any stretch. I cannot think of one that was not caught that you're like, that should have been caught. I think, was it Ayuk or Debo had one that Brock threw just a touch behind him?
It was Ayuk.
And
It's not a drop.
No, it's not a drop. He reached back. He could have caught it, but it was not a drop. No, they were fantastic. They're fantastic.
It just reminded me of that when I was thinking about Lamar, and then you watch that game last night, and it's just, they're clinical. The offense hums because the play caller is a genius, and because the quarterback is unbelievably proficient. The schemes are advanced, and then they execute. They don't give you free stuff. Yeah, offsides, or there's a false start on Trent. There was a delay game, some of the parking tickets that you're going to get living your life, but this team is so efficient, and they don't give you any freebies.
I got a Christmas present for you.
All right. Early. Coming early.
Yeah. Sit Lamar on your fantasy team on Christmas. I'm just thinking about the matchups here, and I know the 49ers traditionally have struggled at times with mobile quarterbacks. I'm not saying Lamar might not break, off a run or 2 here or there, but just in watching that Baltimore team as much as we have, That is a bad matchup for the Baltimore Ravens. Christmas night against the 49ers.
And
That's
is
a bad matchup.
What week is that? Because I don't even know if here I'm looking right
16
now.
16 or 17?
That would be probably the Super Bowl then for our league, or the second round of the playoffs. And I'm just hoping to get there, Mark. I'm just hoping I'm still playing fantasy by December 25th.
That's right. The playoffs start by week 15, right?
Yeah,
The
we have
playoffs
3
start
rounds of
week
playoffs. We got
15,
6 teams getting in.
and that's week 16. So that's the semifinals.
If
It's the
I hope
semifinals.
that I have to worry about
That's
that.
a good point. I forgot that. I forgot that we might not be playing by then.
According to NFL Advanced Stats, the 49ers have dropped. How many drops do you think they have this year, Mark? Grandy, if you would, please. Game show music, please. 49ers. Drops. The drop numbers are out. The drop numbers are here, Mark.
Have they dropped?
They have dropped
Okay.
passes.
No. I mean the drop numbers have
The drops have dropped.
They've dropped.
Yes, the stats have dropped. And the numbers are here. And the numbers are out. How many team drops, according to ProFootballReference.com? How many drops?
4.
Look at the big brain on Mark Willard.
Did I nail it?
4.
The answer is 4.
Hey!
4.
Thank you, Hoosiers. How many drops? 4.
Totally. I'd say who has the drops, but I think we've taken this far enough. I can just tell you, Ayuk is credited with 1. Eli Mitchell with 1. George Kittle has 2. So ends your list of 49ers with drops.
No drops for Debo.
Or Snead, or Ray,
Or
or
Christian.
Ronnie, or Kyle, or Jawan, or Christian.
Damn.
Brock Purdy actually has more drops than just about all the receivers. With he's dropped 2 snaps. 4 drops, Mark. So what I was seeing with my eyes is actually proven out in the stats. They just don't drop the football.
Brother, it's clean right now.
Bro, Baltimore couldn't hold on to the pigskin.
Chieftain.
You
I'm
always got a
telling you.
chieftain.
I know. I need to use like jabroni or something like that. I'm telling you, doctor. They are playing so clean.
Clean, yeah.
So clean. What does this remind you all of? What I said earlier, and I don't want to get into Purdy versus Montana and Young and stuff like this. But to me, this is, and we're 5 games in, but watching this football team right now, this reminds me of 30 years ago. I don't think, I said 2 weeks ago that this is the best roster the 49ers have had since 94. And I stand by that. But now let's take that a step further. I think this is the best stretch of 49er football I have seen since then as well. This is 49er football from the Super Bowl era. Nothing has looked this good. Even the teams that went to the Super Bowl, even Garoppolo's 8-0 start, even Kaepernick's 49ers run, nothing has looked this clean, this buttoned up, this sustainable, this dominant. So it absolutely reminds me of Bill Walsh era football, where you had to make an appointment to get to the TV before the 49er offense took the field, because you knew something dominant, something special was about to happen.
They've played 300 minutes of football, and they've trailed for 1 minute and 45. Now, they've been tied, Mark. They've been tied a bunch. Not really a bunch.
No.
1 minute 45 of 300 minutes they've been trailing. And that was in the second quarter against the Rams.
Yeah, and I was furious, by the way, when they were. For that whole minute 45.
The longest
I'm like,
minute
what the hell are they
45.
doing? What are you doing? Get the quarterback.
They haven't trailed by more than 7 points, and that was for 1 minute 45. It's incredible.
Yeah, so.
It's been boring. I don't think so.